Muy buenos días, señoras y señores. Una vez más, bienvenidos todos a este segundo día de nuestra asamblea. Ya estamos todos sentados y para continuar con las actividades de nuestra asamblea general, corresponde iniciar el día con la presentación BRICS Technical Report on Infrastructure Projects Blended Finance, a cargo de la señora Lidia Gurieva, directora ejecutiva del BEB.RF State Development Corporation de Rusia. Bienvenida.
Buenos días, señoras y señores. Good morning, dear guests and honorable hosts. Today, I'll have a brief review of this report, which is the BRICS Technical Report on Infrastructure Projects Blended Finance. Here I have it, the hard copy. So this report was created last year when Russia was presiding over the BRICS. And we all know, I think most of you would agree, that blended finance, which is a combination of public and private funds, is now seen as sort of a magic wand that can mobilize private capital and also is seen as an efficient way to spend public funds. However, the use of blended finance across various countries varies a lot. And so this report is an attempt at both theoretical analysis of the issue and also it's a practical presentation of case studies from across the BRICS countries. Okay, I don't have a clicker, I'm afraid. Okay, good. So, why were the BRICS countries interested in such a report? As you know, the BRICS countries belong to the emerging markets and developing economies, and they're very fast growing. So, since beginning of this century, their share of global GDP has increased by 20%. And this report, and obviously the BRICS countries are very interested in investments in infrastructure, resilient infrastructure, climate projects, especially adaptation, and also social infrastructure and the like. Now, why would this be interesting to this region? Well, because Latin America and the Caribbean also has similar issues. It has an infrastructure gap which is currently estimated at 30%. And they estimate that the gap in the region will be about 50% by 2040. So this report was created together by VEB, my institution, and the Ministry of Finance with the input of the BRICS countries, which are listed here: Brazil, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, China, Egypt, India, and Iran. Sorry. Doesn't seem to work. Good. Thank you. All right. So the report is based on 8 surveys and 19 multi-sector case studies. So overall, what's the report about? First of all, it's the basis for our understanding what is blended finance, the understanding across the BRICS countries. Then it also provides an inventory of various actors, stakeholders, instruments, mechanisms of blended finance in our countries. And obviously, it evaluates the role of the development finance institutions in blended finance structures. Okay, let's see. I don't know, it doesn't like me. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So very briefly, the structure of the report First, there's an introduction. It's followed by an overview of various definitions of blended finance, its characteristics and principles. Then it gives the analysis of the actors, who are the actors of blended finance, instruments and mechanisms. Then there is a section on challenges and barriers. And the most practical section is probably on the lessons learned at the end. I don't know, I'm not pressing it right. Oh, it's good, all right. So, talking about instruments and mechanisms, the report divides the instruments into 3 groups. The first group is the non-financial instruments, such as technical assistance, which is still very crucial for blended finance for creating bankable projects. The second group is the financial instruments, and at its core are the de-risking instruments, which are the heart of blended finance structures, and they help overcome various risks like political risk and exchange rate risk and interest rate risk. And finally, the third group is the market incentives that improve the project economics. Also, the report lists 3 groups of mechanisms, such as funds, facilities, and public-private partnership structures. Okay, good. So one of the case studies listed in the report is the case study from Russia. It is the blended finance mechanism, which is called Project Finance Factory. So this can be also called a framework or a facility. So what is it? The Project Finance Factory, its goal is to attract long-term commercial money into large-scale projects in the priority sectors of the economy. So there are 3 groups of participants. The first one is the government, the second is the development bank, VBRF, and the third is the commercial banks. So in essence, it's a syndication between VEB and commercial banks, and it structures in different tranches, with the most riskiest tranche taken by the development institution. However, the most attractive feature of this facility is the interest rate hedge. What is it? So all the loans under this mechanism are structured at a floating rate. And so this way, commercial banks are protected from interest rate risk, and they can provide long-term money. Now, the borrowers are also protected from interest rate changes because the government has a subsidy that kicks in when the key interest rate is higher than a certain threshold of about 7% right now. So this is a successful mechanism that can attract enough finance from commercial banks, and it also provides a hedge. Too much. Yeah. So this facility has been quite successful. Since it was launched in 2018, 40 projects have been approved with the total value of $65 billion US. You can see that in the syndication, the ratio between commercial bank funds and VB funds is about 3-to-1. However, you can think of the ratio of commercial funds in another way. So if you take 1 ruble invested by the government in the capital of VB as the development bank, and most of development banks are funded by the government, then you add the market financing attracted by VB itself. Then you add commercial money attracted on the project level under this factory mechanism, and you get the multiplier of 40. So this is the strength of development banking. So going back to the report, the section on challenges and barriers has identified a lot of things. On the policy side, there is sometimes uncertainty as far as the legal treatment of blended finance structures. There are sometimes disadvantages in tax treatment or in the treatment of de-risking instruments. On the institutional side, the report found that there is sometimes not enough coordination and cooperation between the stakeholders. There is lack of bankable projects. Knowledge and capacity, not all stakeholders are aware of blended finance opportunities, and local governments oftentimes lack capacity to structure complex transactions. And finally, on the market environment level, certain countries show that there are no clear exit strategies, or there might be a mismatch in risk appetite between public and private actors. Okay, so we come to the conclusion. So what did the report show? Well, first of all, it showed that all of the BRICS countries have blended finance mechanisms in one way or another, but the degree of sophistication varies a lot. Then, a very important conclusion concerning development banks is that their role is not only financial, but also in non-financial mechanisms such as capacity building and technical assistance. Then the report also found that the key instrument in the blended finance structures across the BRICS countries are debt instruments such as subordinated debt and concessional loans. It also found that there is room for improvement in the regulatory and market environments in the countries to support blended finance structures. And finally, the report makes a conclusion that there is a great potential to scale up these structures and innovate with them across the BRICS countries. Okay, the very last one. So I have a QR code. For those who are interested, you can scan it and download the report. And I also have a few hard copies for those who want them. Okay, sorry. So you can come up and scan, later on if it doesn't appear. So thank you very much for your attention and enjoy the rest of the conference.